Have you ever stood amidst life's storms with such calm that others think nothing bothers you? This isn't numbness or ignoring reality. It's the power of inner serenity. The Buddha once said, "You will not be punished for your anger. You will be punished by your anger." This truth cuts deep, revealing that anger is not an outside enemy but a fire burning us from within if left unchecked. Anger itself isn't inherently evil. It's a force that drains our energy and destroys us from the inside out. Too many people live trapped under its shadow, like caged beasts, restless and in pain, unable to break free. But what if we could see anger differently? Through the lens of mindfulness and compassion, we can learn to recognize anger without letting it control our thoughts, words, or actions. This journey invites us to embrace a way of life grounded in timeless Buddhist wisdom, a guide not just for quiet reflection but for real strength in the darkest moments. Acting as if nothing bothers us isn't pretending. It's a skill to hold the mind steady amid chaos. When everything around us is crumbling, this inner calm becomes an unbreakable shield that keeps us standing. I've witnessed people in hardship break down, crying, yelling, overwhelmed by rage. That's human, natural. But I've also seen others face immense trials with steady breath and peaceful eyes. That difference isn't luck. It's the result of training the spirit, of learning from the profound teachings of the Buddha and wise masters before us. True strength lies in recognizing anger within ourselves and welcoming it without surrendering to it. This is the first step toward freedom, not reckless denial, but awakening. A compassion both for ourselves and the world. In moments free from anger's grip, the soul opens wide, clear, calm, aware. We see challenges not as enemies but as teachers, delivering the most valuable lessons. We don't avoid suffering. We learn to live with it without breaking. Only then can we walk the path of peace, not a smooth road, but one where the heart remains untainted by hatred or despair. This is freedom, a priceless gift anyone can claim by lighting the lamp inside. Join me on this journey to discover and nurture unshakable peace, to find the quiet strength within each of us, a foundation no storm can topple. That calm will empower us to face all trials and transform life's tempests into a sky sparkling with stars. Listening is an art often overlooked, yet it holds the power to transform our relationships and ourselves. When we choose to listen twice as much as we speak, we embark on a journey from shallow noise into the profound realm of authentic connection. It's not merely about hearing the words someone utters but about immersing ourselves in the essence behind them, the fears, hopes, and unspoken truths that color their reality. This kind of listening demands patience. It demands a surrender of ego and a willingness to be vulnerable. I have learned through experience that rushing to respond or offering advice too quickly often shuts down the very dialogue we seek to open. Instead, when we hold space with genuine attention, we invite healing and understanding that words alone can never achieve. There's an almost sacred quality in listening to silence as well, the pauses between sentences, the sighs, the subtle shifts in energy that speak louder than speech. It's in these quiet moments that we connect to the deeper currents flowing beneath the surface. The Buddha's wisdom that to understand everything is to forgive everything reminds me that true comprehension comes not from judgment but from open-hearted presence. When we listen fully, we strip away preconceptions and let empathy bloom, allowing us to see others not as adversaries or obstacles, but as fellow travelers bearing their own burdens. This practice challenges the natural urge to dominate conversations or fill empty spaces with words. It requires humility to accept that our perspective is not the center of the universe, and courage to face uncomfortable truths revealed by others. But the reward is profound. Our own voice gains clarity and meaning. Speaking less does not render us silent, rather, it sharpens our expression. Each word we share becomes deliberate, thoughtful, and impactful, an offering born from understanding rather than impulsivity. I have witnessed how this shift changes dynamics in all spheres, personal, professional, even within oneself. When we learn to listen to our inner dialogue with the same care and patience we offer others, we find a reservoir of wisdom and peace previously untapped. We begin to recognize the patterns of our thoughts, the roots of our fears, and the whispers of our deeper self. In doing so, we cultivate not only compassion for others but also profound self-acceptance. Yet, embracing this art is not without struggle. The world's noise constantly tempts us to speak, to assert, to be heard above all else. Social media, fast-paced lives, endless distractions encourage surface-level interactions rather than meaningful exchanges. This makes the discipline of listening an act of rebellion, a radical return to presence and depth. Choosing to listen more is choosing connection over isolation, understanding over judgment, and peace over conflict. Ultimately, the mastery of listening is mastery over the self. It teaches us patience in a culture of haste, humility in a society of ego, and love in a world often starved for it. It binds us to the shared humanity beneath differences and opens the door to healing wounds that words alone cannot mend. Listening twice as much as we speak is not just a practice. It is a way of being that enriches our lives and the lives of those around us in ways that nothing else can. Life's journey is not a leisurely stroll but a relentless expedition through thickets of doubt, fear, and distraction. Too often, we find ourselves tangled in the voices that crowd our minds, those relentless whispers from society, family, and even strangers, all trying to direct our steps. They claim to know what's best for us, prescribing formulas for success, happiness, and worth. Yet, surrendering your compass to their hands means surrendering your very essence. The Buddha's timeless guidance rings true. Do not dwell in the past. Do not dream of the future. Concentrate the mind on the present moment. This teaching is a clarion call to reclaim sovereignty over your life, to break free from the invisible chains of external expectation. I've seen too many souls trapped in the shadows of others' ambitions, living lives not their own, careers chosen to satisfy approval rather than passion, relationships nurtured to fit molds rather than authentic connection. The tragedy is not merely lost time, but the erosion of self, the quiet disappearance of the unique light each person carries. True power arises when you step into your truth, when you dare to listen to that still, small voice within amid the cacophony. It demands fierce courage because the world's noise is deafening, relentless in its attempt to mold you. But the alternative, living a life shaped by others, is a slow death of spirit. Taking control means embracing the uncertainty of forging your path. It means understanding that mistakes will happen, but they are yours to own and learn from. The present moment becomes your anchor, the place where real choice resides, untainted by the regrets of yesterday or anxieties of tomorrow. Only here can you connect deeply with your values and dreams, unfiltered and true. The authenticity that blossoms from this place is magnetic. It draws to you opportunities, people, and experiences aligned with your soul's purpose. In my own life, the moment I stopped seeking validation from outside sources, everything shifted. Fear lost its grip, replaced by a quiet confidence that no external storm could shake. I realized that opinions are just shadows cast by others' fears and desires, not truths I must carry. This liberation is not arrogance but humility, recognizing that my life is a sacred canvas painted by my own hand. Brushstrokes made with intention, not compulsion. The world may try to steer you with its judgments and expectations, but your heart is the true guide. Trust it fiercely, embrace your flaws, your doubts, and your ambitions, for they are the threads weaving the tapestry of your unique journey. This is not selfishness but self-respect, the foundation of all meaningful freedom. So walk boldly, not in defiance, but in harmony with your deepest self. Own every step, every choice, even when the path is unclear or daunting. This ownership transforms the hike through life's dense forest into a powerful adventure where you are the hero of your story, not a passenger lost in someone else's narrative. In this control lies freedom, and in freedom lies the profound peace of living a life genuinely yours. Life's currents rush unpredictably, tearing at the edges of our expectations, dragging us into whirlpools of despair when least prepared. The Buddha's profound insight, pain is certain, suffering is optional, stands as a beacon amid these turbulent waters, reminding us that while pain is inevitable, how deeply it consumes us is a choice. To accept the worst is not to surrender to defeat or cloak ourselves in pessimism. Rather, it is the armor of mental readiness forged in the fires of wisdom and courage. It is the act of standing firm before the storm, eyes wide open, heart steady, knowing full well that hardship will arrive but refusing to let it define or destroy us. I have wrestled personally with this truth. The moment I embraced the possibility of the worst, the paralyzing fear that once gripped me loosened its hold. Suddenly, life's punches did not land with the same brutal force. Instead, I stood like a tree bending in fierce wind, yielding but unbroken. Acceptance does not mean giving up or resigning to misery. It is an active, conscious choice to meet reality as it is, without illusions. It shields the soul from the unnecessary suffering born of resistance and denial. How often do we compound our pain by fighting against what cannot be changed? Fueling anguish with anger and regret. Acceptance cuts through this cycle, creating a space where resilience can grow. This readiness cultivates equanimity, a balanced mind that remains calm and clear amid chaos. It is the quiet strength that whispers in the darkest moments, "This too shall pass." With acceptance, we learn to endure pain without being swallowed by despair. Setbacks stop being prisons and transform into crucibles where character is forged. Challenges morph into invitations to tap reservoirs of strength we never knew existed. It is a radical form of empowerment to prepare the mind for the worst. For in doing so, we disarm fear's power to overwhelm us. The world around us rarely offers guarantees. It delights in testing our resolve, throwing curveballs without warning. But when the mind is anchored in acceptance, we face each trial with a fierce grace. We cease to be victims of circumstance and become warriors of inner peace. This mindset is not passive. It requires vigilance, daily practice, and deep self-awareness. Yet, it promises freedom, the freedom to live fully, without the shadow of dread dimming our days. From my perspective, this willingness to accept the worst is the ultimate act of love toward oneself. It is an acknowledgement that pain will come, but we are not powerless. We can prepare, adapt, and rise. This shield against suffering does not eliminate hardship but transforms our relationship with it. It teaches us that peace is not the absence of trouble, but the presence of an unshakable spirit, and it is this spirit that carries us through life's wild river, unbowed and ever-flowing toward the horizon. Failure is often painted as the villain in the story of success. But this is a dangerous misconception that keeps many trapped in fear and hesitation. The Buddha's timeless teaching, each morning we are born again, what we do today matters most, reminds us that every moment holds the potential for renewal and transformation. Failure, far from being a defeat, is an essential part of this process. It is the crucible in which resilience is forged and wisdom is distilled. I've come to see failure not as an end but as a powerful catalyst, each misstep a lesson carved deeply into the fabric of my growth. Imagine a child learning to walk. They fall countless times, yet they do not despair or quit. Their determination is pure, untainted by the fear of what failure means. This raw persistence is a blueprint for our own journey. Life's path will inevitably lead us through moments of faltering and falling. But it is our response that defines us. When we embrace failure with openness rather than resistance, we transform it into a sculptor that shapes our character and clarifies our purpose. Each setback becomes a mirror reflecting what needs change, what beliefs must be shed, and what strengths must be nurtured. Fear of failure is one of the most paralyzing forces in existence. It locks us into comfort zones, stagnation, and unrealized potential. But courage, the willingness to face failure head-on, unlocks the gates to progress. It invites us into a dance with uncertainty, where growth is born from discomfort. In my own life, I've felt the sting of failure sharply, moments where doubt threatened to swallow my resolve. Yet, it was in those very moments, by embracing the discomfort and learning from the pain, that I discovered new depths of strength and clarity. Failure forced me to strip away illusions and confront truths I might otherwise have avoided. True growth demands that we lean into these moments with vulnerability and honesty. The lessons in failure are rarely convenient. They challenge our identity, our ego, and our sense of control. But they offer something priceless: insight. Insight that propels us forward on the path of self-discovery and authentic progress. To resist failure is to resist life itself, for to live fully is to risk falling. The wise do not shun failure but welcome it as an integral companion on the road to mastery. The secret lies in shifting our relationship with failure from one of fear and avoidance to one of embrace and curiosity. Let your mistakes carve the contours of your future. Let every setback be a stepping stone, not a stumbling block. When we stop judging ourselves harshly for failing and start listening to the messages failure brings, we open the door to profound transformation. This is the alchemy of growth, turning the lead of defeat into the gold of wisdom. In this light, failure ceases to be a shadow lurking in the background, threatening our dreams. It becomes the fire that tempers our spirit, the mentor that teaches us endurance, and the map that guides us toward our truest self. So take the leap, knowing that failure is not your enemy but your most honest teacher, nudging you onward toward the greatness that lies within. In a world swirling with noise, endless choices, and relentless distractions, simplicity emerges as a radical act of clarity and courage. The Buddha's wisdom: the way is not in the sky, the way is in the heart. points us inward to a sanctuary untouched by chaos. I have come to realize that life's complexity often clouds our vision, blurring what truly matters beneath layers of excess and obligation. When we strip away the unnecessary, those obligations that drain us, possessions that weigh us down, relationships that sap our energy, we uncover a profound freedom. Simplicity is not deprivation. It is a deliberate alignment with the essence of our being. Visualize your life as a garden teeming with myriad flowers. Some flourish with vibrant colors and nourish your spirit, while others wilt and consume precious resources. The art of keeping it simple lies in tending to those blooms that feed your soul, those connections and pursuits that resonate deeply with your authentic self. It requires honesty and sometimes painful pruning, releasing habits, relationships, or commitments that no longer serve our growth. This act of letting go is not loss but gain, clearing space for peace and joy to flourish. The temptation to complicate life is powerful. Society often equates busyness with success, accumulation with happiness, and multitasking with productivity. But this illusion only breeds stress and confusion. In my personal journey, I found that clarity arrived only when I chose to slow down, to say no to the superfluous, and to listen intently to my inner voice. This process wasn't easy. It meant confronting fears of missing out and challenging external expectations. Yet, the reward was transformative. A mind unburdened by clutter, a heart attuned to purpose, and a spirit anchored in peace. Simplicity nurtures authentic relationships by freeing us from superficial interactions and allowing deeper connections to take root. When we prioritize quality over quantity, presence over distraction, our bonds become richer and more sustaining. This quality of attention spills over into self-care, where simple routines, moments of stillness, mindful breathing, gratitude, become powerful tools for well-being. It's a daily practice of returning to the essentials, a commitment to honor what truly sustains us, like a clear night sky dotted with countless stars shining with quiet brilliance. Simplicity offers us a lens of focus and tranquility. It is the deliberate clearing away of clutter, mental, emotional, and physical, that creates sacred space for peace to grow. In that space, clarity dawns, and we begin to see the path forward with renewed confidence and calm. From my perspective, simplicity is the antidote to the overwhelm so many face today. It's a call to embrace less, not as sacrifice but as liberation. When life is stripped down to its essentials, what remains is not emptiness but fullness, fullness of meaning, presence, and connection. In simplicity lies the profound truth that peace is not found by adding more but by discerning and embracing what truly matters in the heart. Humility is often mistaken for weakness, but it is the quiet force that anchors true wisdom. The Buddhist teaching that wisdom is not in endless speech but in being peaceful, loving, and fearless reveals the essence of this virtue. Humility is not about belittling oneself or shrinking away from life's challenges. It is the profound understanding that knowledge and accomplishment are mere fragments in the vast ocean of existence. This understanding invites a calmness that transcends ego, a grace that flows from recognizing that no matter how much we learn or achieve, there is always more to see, more to understand, and more to give. In my own journey, I've realized that humility is what transforms knowledge into wisdom. Talking endlessly about what we know can often mask insecurity or the need for validation. But true humility silences that noise, opening a space where learning is continuous and genuine. It is in this silence that empathy grows, because to be humble is to acknowledge the interconnectedness of all beings, not as separate individuals competing for recognition, but as parts of a larger whole, each carrying their own struggles and gifts. This awareness dissolves the walls built by arrogance and pride, replacing them with bridges of compassion and understanding. A humble person listens deeply, not just to respond, but to truly absorb another's experience. They remain open, even when faced with disagreement or criticism, knowing that every perspective holds a lesson. This openness is a courageous act, for it requires setting aside the ego's need to be right or superior. It is a strength forged through vulnerability, a commitment to growth rather than conquest. In this way, humility is not passive submission but active engagement with the world from a place of love and respect. The power of humility reveals itself most clearly in action, not words. It is found in gentle kindness extended without expectation, in the courage to admit mistakes and learn from them, in standing firm yet soft-hearted amid adversity. When humility guides us, wisdom shines not as a blinding spotlight but as a warm glow that attracts and inspires others quietly and profoundly. It becomes visible in sincere connections, where hearts meet without pretense and judgment falls away. From my perspective, practicing humility is the greatest gift we can offer ourselves and the world. It opens the door to deeper understanding, healing divisions caused by pride and fear. It teaches us to share our strength without overshadowing others, to lead without dominating, and to love without conditions. Humility is the foundation upon which true wisdom is built, a wisdom that moves beyond intellect into the realm of the heart. To embrace humility is to embark on a lifelong journey of gentle self-discovery and compassionate engagement. It is to walk the path not as a solitary traveler seeking acclaim, but as a fellow soul honoring the interconnected dance of life. In this humble embrace, we find the truest expression of wisdom, peaceful, loving, fearless, and endlessly open. In a world obsessed with accumulation and status, the Buddhist timeless wisdom reminds us to pause and reconsider what we truly value. Health is the greatest gift, contentment the greatest wealth, faithfulness the best relationship. Calls us back from the frenzy of chasing fleeting fortunes to the quiet sanctuary of lasting treasures. I have witnessed how easily people become ensnared in the pursuit of material wealth, cars gleaming under the sun, homes filled with possessions meant to impress, but these are shadows that fade with time, offering only temporary comfort. The deeper tragedy lies not in losing these things, but in building our happiness upon them, only to be left shattered when they slip away. Contentment, by contrast, is an inner wealth untouchable by external forces. It is the rare ability to find peace right here, right now, regardless of circumstance. This does not mean settling for less or denying ambition. It means grounding our sense of worth beyond possessions, beyond the endless quest for more. I remember moments when a simple walk in nature, the warmth of a genuine smile, or the quiet pleasure of sharing a meal with loved ones brought me more joy than any material gain ever could. These experiences reveal a profound truth. Happiness rooted in external fortune is fragile, but joy nurtured in the heart is enduring. Faithfulness, the steadfastness in our relationships, is the bedrock on which true happiness is built. In a culture often characterized by fleeting connections and superficial interactions, genuine loyalty and love stand as rare treasures. It is in the deep bonds of trust and commitment that we find belonging, support, and a sense of home that no wealth can replicate. I have learned through personal trials that when material things fail, it is the strength of faithful relationships that carry us through the darkest times. These connections are not just sources of comfort but are mirrors reflecting our best selves. Encouraging growth and resilience. Clinging to fortune breeds suffering because it anchors our happiness to impermanent things. The loss of wealth or status can trigger despair, anxiety, and a sense of emptiness. But when we shift our focus to cultivating health, physical, mental, and emotional, contentment, and faithfulness, we build an unshakable foundation. These are the treasures that endure storms, outlast possessions, and transcend the superficial metrics society often imposes. From my perspective, the greatest danger lies not in having wealth but in mistaking it for the source of happiness. This illusion blinds us to the richness available in the present moment and the value of true connection. To cherish what truly lasts is to live intentionally, prioritizing self-care, nurturing meaningful relationships, and embracing simplicity with gratitude. It is a radical choice to find wealth not in what can be bought or lost but in what can never be taken away. In embracing this wisdom, we become architects of a life anchored in peace rather than chaos. In fulfillment rather than longing, we learn that the greatest fortune is not counted in currency but measured in health restored, hearts healed, and bonds strengthened. This is the enduring legacy worth pursuing, the treasure that transforms our existence from fleeting to profound. As we walk this path guided by the Buddha's timeless wisdom, we find a lantern that cuts through life's darkest shadows, a compass pointing toward clarity, strength, and serenity. These teachings are not mere words to admire from afar. They are living tools, practical and profound, ready to reshape how we meet every challenge. Anger, once a raging fire within, now reveals itself as a torment we choose to release. Our ears open wider, learning the art of listening more and speaking less, allowing understanding to flourish where noise once ruled. We reclaim control of our journey, no longer puppets to the whims of others, but masters of our own destiny. Preparing for life's inevitable storms, we stand armored with acceptance, not fear. Failure, far from a defeat, becomes the forge of our growth. Each setback a step forward. We strip away clutter, embracing simplicity to see the essence with new eyes. Humility softens the heart, making room for compassion and true wisdom. And in cherishing what truly lasts, health, contentment, faithful relationships, we build a foundation unshaken by the fleeting tides of fortune. I speak not from theory but from a journey marked by trials and triumphs. Moments when these teachings shifted from abstract ideals to lifelines. There were times when anger threatened to consume me, yet choosing peace became an act of rebellion against despair. There were moments when fear of failure held me captive until embracing it unlocked a reservoir of strength I never knew existed. Simplifying my life wasn't easy. It demanded letting go of attachments. But the freedom it brought was nothing short of transformative. Humility taught me to listen deeply, to learn continuously, and to connect with others on a level that transcends words. This path isn't easy. No worthwhile journey ever is. But it is the path toward genuine freedom and lasting peace. If these teachings resonate with you, if they spark even a flicker of hope or understanding, I invite you to share this message, like and comment to join the conversation. Your voice matters. And together we create a community rooted in wisdom and kindness. Let's carry this light forward, illuminating the way for ourselves and others navigating life's complexities. May the wisdom of the Buddha continue to guide your steps, filling your days with peace, insight, and a gentle yet unyielding strength. Walk your path with courage and serenity, knowing that each moment is a new beginning, a chance to live fully and wisely. Thank you for journeying with me today. Until we meet again, may your heart be steady, your mind clear, and your spirit ever bright.